Hello there, you're watching Time Warner Cable's local edition, the Sacramento Report. I'm Jaime Garza and I'm joined today by Senator Bob Huff. Good to have you here today.
Great to be here, Jaime.
Everybody's been talking about California state budget, $29 billion that we have to do something with. The governor has come out, he's proposed what he'd like to do. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, he's got an ambitious challenge ahead of him. I think part of the biggest problem is we have not made the necessary reduction to the state. Our general fund has been clipping around at a $99 billion level from $103 billion high. We hear about all these cuts. We just haven't been there yet. We have to be able to live within our means.
An editorial in the Los Angeles Times calling or characterizing the governor's plan as half cuts and half taxes. You don't think that's necessarily so?
I call that half truth. Because it's really $8 billion in cuts. That's all they have. You can't score redevelopment money, Prop 10, Prop 63 redirections as cuts. So when they gimmick it up, they get up to $12.5 billion. So it's really $8 billion in cuts. It's $14 billion in taxes, $6.5 billion in redirection.
Governor also wants to go to the voters. He's always said, I'm not going to raise taxes. I'm not going to extend taxes unless the voters of California say yes. But the Republicans as a whole have said, you know what? It's a waste of taxpayer money. It's a waste of our time. Why so?
Well, I think the real question is, did not the voters speak on this issue already? 2 years ago, we asked them and they said no to a 2-year tax extension. Last November, they said no to the car tax for parks. They said no to taking money from local government. They said yes to majority vote budget, but then they said, and it's going to cost you more. You got to have 2/3 vote to raise fees or taxes. So this is not an electorate that wants us to go back there to them. They want us to solve our own problems. They actually made it easier by giving us the majority vote for a budget.
Well, if we remember the State of the State address, I mean, the governor turned to the Constitution and said, you know, this is about the people, this is about the people. You see that as a strategy that he's trying to get the voters to say, I'm going to give you another chance, work with me? And
well, sure, he's trying to make the pitch and he feels he can sell it better than Arnold did, but the bottom line is any polling you look at says the people want us to solve the problem. He's going to have a real problem trying to get this done unless he can show significant reforms, and that's where we are. The budget's not the problem. It's a symptom of the problem. The problem is we spend more than we take in, so we got to fix that underlying problem. Then you talk about taxes if you're going to, but you don't do it at the get-go.
Well, doesn't the governor want a lot of cuts as well across the board as much as he can, so isn't that the first step?
Well, it is the first step, but they haven't even put those votes up. I mean, you're talking $8 billion in cuts, and he can't get his own Democrats to do it, yet he's asking us, where's our budget? You know, and that's just a little bit interesting in that.
We've been hearing over and over again about job creation and whether or not the budget's proposal will do that or just chase more people away. And we're talking about redevelopment funds and we're talking about other red tape that businesses have to go through in this state.
We're the highest, one of the highest tax states already. We have the highest regulations, anti-business climate. You're absolutely right. We have to create jobs. That's the only way we sustain ourselves in the long run. This budget does not do that.
Give us your perspective then on this budget proposal compared to, let's say, the last few.
Well, this is very similar to what Arnold Schwarzenegger recommended last year, and the Democrats wouldn't go there with the cuts. Now you see a lot of the same things Republicans had suggested and actually voted on last year that are back before us. The real issue is the economy has not come back. They were hoping that we would have this miracle, the economy spring back, they get out of their problems by kicking the can down the road. We can't kick it anymore. So at least the governor has a balanced approach for 5 years. If you consider voting for the $14 billion in taxes part of the Balancing Act, at least that does balance it for 5 years and allows us time to figure out how we sustain it long term.
In the last 10 seconds that you have here, do you think you'll get a budget by March, what everybody was hoping?
It's the only way it gets onto the ballot, but the timeline is very, very difficult.
Senator Bob Huff, thanks for coming on in, and thank you for watching Time Warner Cable's local edition, the Sacramento Report. And don't forget, you can watch this interview and other interviews always on My Government On Demand. Make it a good day, everybody.
Wideband and soon 4G mobile internet. The fastest next generation internet at home and on the go.
Dan!
Sorry. At Time Warner Cable, we're moving technology forward to bring you back to the band.